Sylvester Stallone saves weak, injured canine dog from hyenas. What happens next will leave you speak a desert on the edge of chaos. The sun blazed mercilessly over the vast arid desert, its golden rays reflecting off the endless sea of sand. The air was dry and scorching, carrying with it the faint scent of dust and decay. Somewhere in this unforgiving landscape, Sylvester Stallone, the iconic actor and action hero, found himself far from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. He was on a mission, one that had brought him to the heart of the Middle East, where he was filming a gritty war drama about the bond between soldiers and their canine companions. But today, the set was quiet. The crew had taken a break, seeking refuge from the relentless heat. Stallone, however, was restless. He had always been a man of action, and the stillness of the desert didn't sit well with him. He decided to take a walk, his boots crunching against the sand as he ventured away from the camp. As he walked, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The desert, usually alive with the sounds of wind and distant animal calls, was eerily silent. It was as if the land itself was holding its breath. Then he heard it, a faint whimper, barely audible over the rustling of the wind. Stallone froze, his sharp instincts kicking in. He turned his head, scanning the horizon, and that's when he saw it. A canine dog in peril. Lying in the shadow of a rocky outcrop was a German shepherd, its once glossy coat matted with dirt and blood. The dog's ribs were visible beneath its skin, and its breathing was shallow. It was clear the animal had been through hell, but the dog wasn't alone. Circling it were 3 hyenas, their eyes gleaming with hunger as they closed in on their prey. Stallone's heart sank. He had always had a soft spot for dogs, especially canines. They were loyal, brave, and often the unsung heroes of the battlefield. Seeing one in such a state was like a punch to the gut. The hyenas growled, their laughter-like cackles sending chills down Stallone's spine. He knew he had to act fast. Hyenas were relentless predators, and they wouldn't hesitate to attack him if he got in their way. The rescue, a dangerous gamble. Stallone grabbed a large rock from the ground and stepped forward, his heart pounding in his chest. The hyenas turned to face him, their eyes narrowing as they assessed the new threat. Stallone didn't back down. He raised the rock above his head and let out a guttural roar, channeling the same intensity that had made him a Hollywood legend. "Back off," he shouted, his voice echoing across the desert. The hyenas hesitated, their growls growing louder. But Stallone didn't give them a chance to regroup. He hurled the rock at the largest hyena, striking it on the shoulder. The animal yelped in pain and backed off, but the other 2 were already moving in. Stallone knew he couldn't fight them all. He had to get the dog out of there. And fast. He dropped the rock and ran to the dog's side, kneeling beside it. The German shepherd looked up at him with pleading eyes, its tail giving a weak wag. "Easy, boy," Stallone said, his voice calm but firm. "I've got you." With a grunt of effort, Stallone lifted the dog into his arms. The animal was heavier than he expected, but he didn't let that stop him. He turned and began walking back toward the camp, the hyenas following at a distance. The walk back to camp felt like an eternity. The sun beat down on Stallone's back, and the weight of the dog made every step a struggle. But he refused to give up. He could hear the hyenas behind him, their cackles growing louder as they closed in. Stallone knew he couldn't outrun them. He had to find a way to lose them. He scanned the desert, looking for anything that could help. Then he saw it. A narrow crevice in the rocks, just big enough for him and the dog to squeeze through. "Hold on, buddy," Stallone said, adjusting his grip on the dog. "We're almost there." He ducked into the crevice, the cool shade providing a brief respite from the heat. The hyenas circled the entrance, their growls growing more frustrated. But they couldn't follow him inside. Stallone waited until the hyenas finally gave up and slunk away. Then he emerged from the crevice and continued toward the camp, his legs trembling with exhaustion. The aftermath. A bond forms. Back at the camp, the crew was shocked to see Stallone carrying a bloodied dog. They quickly cleared a space for him to lay the animal down, and the crew started calling the dog Rocky, after Stallone's most famous character. It was a fitting name. The dog had the heart of a champion. As Rocky began to recover, he and Stallone formed an unbreakable bond. The dog followed him everywhere, his tail wagging as he trotted at Stallone's side. It was as if Rocky knew that Stallone had saved his life, and he was determined to repay the favor. The twist, a shocking turn of events. One evening, as Stallone and Rocky were walking near the edge of the camp, they heard the unmistakable sound of gunfire. Stallone's heart raced as he realized what was happening. A group of armed men had infiltrated the camp, their faces covered with scarves. They were looking for something, or someone. Stallone knew he had to act fast. He grabbed Rocky by the collar and led him to a hiding spot behind a stack of crates. "Stay," he said, his voice firm. "I'll be back." But before Stallone could move, one of the men spotted him. The man raised his rifle, aiming it directly at Stallone. Time seemed to slow as Stallone braced himself for the inevitable. Then, out of nowhere, Rocky leapt into action. The dog charged at the man, his teeth bared as he sank them into the man's arm. The rifle clattered to the ground, and the man let out a scream of pain. Stallone didn't hesitate. He grabbed the rifle and disarmed the man, using his years of action hero training to take him down. The other intruders, seeing their leader defeated, quickly fled into the night. The final showdown, man and dog against the world. Stallone and Rocky worked together to secure the camp, their bond stronger than ever. They moved through the chaos like a well-oiled machine, each one complementing the other's strengths. Finally, the intruders were gone, and the camp was safe. Stallone turned to Rocky, his heart filled with gratitude. "You're not just a dog," he said, scratching the animal behind the ears. "You're a hero." Rocky let out a soft bark, his tail wagging lazily. It was clear he felt the same way about Stallone. The legacy, a friendship for the ages. The story of Sylvester Stallone and Rocky spread like wildfire, capturing the hearts of millions. People were amazed at how a Hollywood legend had formed such an unlikely bond with a canine dog, and Rocky's bravery became the stuff of legend. Stallone and Rocky continued to work together, their partnership a testament to the power of compassion and courage. They became symbols of hope and resilience, inspiring others to stand up against cruelty and protect the innocent. And as the sun rose over the desert the next morning, Stallone and Rocky set off on their next adventure, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Because together, they were unstoppable